There YouTube, it's Creeper Crawler, basically in full panic mode. So the ride is coming up real fast, and we don't got a whole lot of time left to get a bunch of stuff fixed. So let's get you caught up.
So he was a wheel horse. As you can see, motor's pulled off of it. I got one more motor hole drilled and tapped. You can see it right there. Tap broke off in it, which is just about my luck. I have to weld on the spot, but in typical last minute fashion, totally out of wire. So got to get some of that. So I figured I'd take off the side cover here and start working on the pulley swap. Wish the lighting was a little better. But basically, this is going to have to come off. And for all you guys that's been watching this channel for a while, you know that the thing with this tractor is that it's rusty. I actually call it rusty. And it's basically completely rusted, and anything I've done to it, I've just left it bare so that it rusted to match. But we had our first casualty. If you're familiar with wheel horses, you'll know, or maybe you'll know, that this is the bracket actually welded on the frame by the factory, and it holds on this bolt right here, this front bolt on the side cover. As you can see, it's actually rusted off, the poor thing. So as much as I really hate to do it, and we're not doing it before the ride because we don't have time, the wheel horse is going to get a paint job. I've already pretty much decided. All my buddies, they do theirs red pan, red hood, black everything else. Me, just being me, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do black fenders, black hood, red everything else. So I'm probably going to find like try to find some old school looking red, like maybe even like red primer or something, to kind of keep the ratty look. But yeah, I mean, the poor thing is literally rusting apart. So I mean, we can't have it rusting apart, guys. It's cool, but I love this tractor and I want to keep using it. So it's not the prettiest girl to dance, but she will definitely still dance. So we want to keep her around for a while. So we're gonna have to get some paint on this poor thing. All right, so what we're doing here is I'm going from a 6-inch that I've always ran on this tractor, except, well, actually it wasn't this tractor, but my very first wheel horse had a 7. And I'm putting a 7 back on it. I want a little more wheel speed, especially with this bigger motor. It's going to be able to pull it, especially when I ride with Donnie, Donald Con on the YouTubes. You guys have seen his Sears in a lot of the videos. He's got a 7-inch on a Sears, and he's got a custom transaxle in it, not made custom, but Sears custom. That's a model tractor. And his goes really fast. I think it's 20-some miles an hour. So there's a couple places we ride where we have a little bit of road ride in between, and I'm always lagging way, way behind because this is so much faster on the road. So basically, I tried to get a little more speed before. This is the pulley that was on it, and I've used forever. But I swapped it to this one. Not sure exactly. I don't have a tape measure because I lost my tape measure, so I apologize. But maybe, I think an inch smaller overall. If this was a 6, this is a 5. I don't really remember. This was actually a pulley I had kicking around. It might be like 5 1/4 or something stupid. But I'm putting the factory wheel horse pulley back on, and then I'm going to a 7-inch up here. So that should be faster than the old setup. Plus, the big problem was when I went with the smaller pulley, even though it was just a little bit smaller, I did have a significant increase in belt slippage in water. I mean, anybody can build a belt system that hooks up when the pulley is dry, right here. But once you get down in the mud and crud and water, which this thing usually is, you go to dump the clutch and it doesn't do anything, or does not as much as you'd like it to. It's a real pain in the butt. So, bigger pulley, bigger transmission pulley, still an increase in ratio, so we should be a hair faster and a lot more belt contact. People want to know, oh well, I want to put a 3-inch or whatever. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but you guys got to remember that the belt goes around the pulley, right? So as the belt goes around the pulley, it's basically usually touching from here to here. Well, if it's only a 3-inch or 2-inch pulley, it's only touching from here to here. That's significantly less distance than this out here, right? So the more distance your pulley has to grip on the belt, the better it's going to do in wet and really muddy scenarios. Less spring tension you're going to have on your clutch, which means longer life out of your idler bearings. So the other issue that I've had with this tractor, it works 100% great if you were riding through the woods like we do on wheel horse trails, that kind of stuff. When I take it to mud parks, Powerline Park it did it, Haspin it did it, pretty much any place where it gets ridden a lot, what happens is, well, hold on, I'll get some better light. There we go. So what happens is these tires are so big, and I have them offset to the inside to make it as skinny as I could. They actually, you can see not much clearance between the edge of the tire and the transaxle. So on this side, as the tire would come around, it would get a big glob of mud on the side of it, where, you know, you ride with a bunch of other four-wheelers, there's this hard clay, you know, just real sticky, and it'll stick to the side of your tire. No big deal, except for the tire is so close to this belt guard, you can actually see it rubs when you get a big layer of clay on it. What it actually does is it takes that clay and scrapes it off the tire and packs it right up into my belt system. And I've had to take this side cover off halfway through a ride and, you know, drag all the mud off of it and put it back on, and it's just really, really inconvenient. And I don't want that to happen at Tecumseh. It's very likely that it could happen. So basically, you know, here's the factory belt guard. I'm going to make something that comes down here and covers this and covers the backside of the belt. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it bolt on this. Probably will. And then it'll keep the mud from getting packed up in here. Now, if you have your wheel horse with skinnier tires, or if you even have your wheels kicked out a little bit, I don't think it'd be an issue. But on my particular wheel horse, it is definitely an issue, so I'm going to try to address it. All right, got a dab of thread locker, blue thread locker on there. I don't know if you can see it. So I'll get this put on here, and we'll get it tightened up. And tap them home with a piece of wood. There she is. We'll tighten her down. We're good to go. Well, there it is with the belt on and sort of mocked up. So basically I need to make a cover to cover up back here and a little bit down here, and we'll see, maybe something on the bottom. Occasionally you'll get on a real rough trail, you'll get a rock come up in here, and that's why this is somewhat polished off, and it's real polished on the edges. You'll run it into a branch or a rock and kind of grind on it. So depending on how easy it is, if I find something that works out easy, I might make something to try to cover that. Well, sorry I missed that. I lost my phone for a second, but I'm just draining the gear oil. As you can see, it's pretty filthy. Oh, poor wheel horse. But yeah, it's going to put some fresh in it. I just happened to check the dipstick, I just happened to check the dip stick, and it was pretty gross. So yeah, time for new fluid. I used to change it every ride, but I kind of got lazy, and it's probably been 3 rides, and really you wouldn't have to change it that much, but it seems like every time I take this thing out, I take it at least, you know, up to here in mud and water. So these transaxles were never meant for this kind of stuff, so they don't seal very good on the top, especially around the shifter on these particular transmissions. So if you go over this level, you probably got water in it, water or mud. So gear oil is cheap, transmissions are expensive, so yeah, we swap it out a lot. So we're gonna have to, or we cut that end off. At some point I'll have to extend that back out because I like it to cover the pulley like it used to, but for now, this will get us by. This is actually how I cut it when I first built this thing, and then I welded the other part back on, so down the road. So we'll just do that again. Alright, so while I was in here, I always try to check my pulleys. This pulley is perfect. Smooth, no slop. This one, not so much. Can't see it, but it's got a lot of, you probably can, you can hear it anyways. It's noisy, it's got a lot of slop. I'm sure it'd make it through the ride, but I have a, stuff right there. I have a whole tube of these bearings, so it's very easy to replace them. I buy them that way because I go through a lot of them. So pop that off and get it swapped out. All right, here it is with the fresh bearing. We'll throw it back on. Alright, basically I just got to throw the nut back on it, but I wanted to show this to you other wheel horse guys. Wheel horses from the factory, they don't have any sort of adjustment on belt tension. Basically, once the belt wears out, or if it's a hair too big or too small, there's nothing you can do about it. The other thing is the belt from the factory runs from here, right along here, up to the motor pulley. And it'll sometimes rub right here, especially if you go bigger pulley. So what I did a long time ago was I made this. You just loosen this bolt up. It's not the easiest thing to adjust, but it is adjustable. You loosen this up, slide it where you want it, which is kind of hard holding it where you want it, and then tighten that up. You know, this can swing in an arc. But basically, it gets the belt up out of the road. It gets a little bit more belt contact on the pulleys, both the bottom one and the motor pulley up top, because it's holding the belt up on them. And it gets the belt, like if you come a tree or a branch or whatever's coming here, it hits this instead of hitting the belt first, which doesn't really hurt the belt even to hit it, but it's just kind of nice because it has a chance to knock it off, and this gets it up out of the road. So that's how I do those.
Well, we're skipping forward a few chapters because I ran completely out of time, but we'll get you caught up to where.
So here the wheel horse is all done. Had to do some stuff. Hooked all the wiring back up. Had to cut the belt guard out. I'm going to make another one like I used to have, but for now I just got this bar welded in. Made me a new battery box for my new battery. Decided to go with the motorcycle battery again this time. I think it's off a Sportster or something. It's a bigger motorcycle battery. They're kind of expensive, but the lawnmower batteries, I was just, I guess, rattling them to death or something. They weren't holding up. It seems to run good. I'm trying out a gas pedal. This is very janky. It actually might break on the ride. I did the best I could. And these, you can always just adjust the throttle over here if it doesn't work. Just tighten that nut up a little bit. So the wheel horse is all ready to go. Got the seat covers on it to keep the rain off of them. I'm bringing the AMF for the ride Saturday. Put a new set of tires on it yesterday, which I think actually look pretty freaking sweet. Excited to see how they go. Obviously they're going to be a lot better than the little turfs I had on it. Yeah.
Alrighty guys, well hopefully I'll see some of you at the romp on Saturday, Sunday, and the rest of you I'll try to get good videos so you can follow along with us. Creepy Crawler out.